Hello everyone, welcome back to the chan. Great to have you here today. Great to be here today. Thank you for tuning in. Okay, so we have some talking to do, okay? As you saw by the title of this video, we're doing a little bit of a different approach to my monthly TBR, monthly reading check-in, monthly video, whatever you wanna call it. I decided to try something new. As you know, I do TBR Tinder, and you know what? I'm just in a time right now where TBR Tinder is not my vibe at the current moment, okay? Do I love making those videos? Yes, but I just get really in my head about TBR Tinder and I just need to like take a little bit of time away, mood read, and just like let myself explore something new. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying TBR Tinder is gone forever. I just like need to take a little break for a little bit. That's okay. So as far as what to expect in this video, this is kind of a newer, kind of different style of video that I'm trying out. I was very much inspired to try something like this from my number one booktube girly, Olivia Reads a Latte. I just freaking love her content and constantly trying to get inspiration from her because I just love her channel so much. So she does this like monthly reset every month where she kind of just talks about her TBR and just like does a little bit of a monthly check-in. And I kind of wanted to play off a little bit of that idea in the fact that I want to talk about my June TBR, but then I also want to do a May reading wrap up. I'm going to try and lump them into one because I tend to only read about 2 to 4 books a month. If you've been following my channel for a while, you know I'm a slower reader. You know what? I can only do that 2 to 4 books a month. It's literally, that's all my schedule allows. That's all my brain allows. I physically cannot read any more than that given my work schedule and whatnot. So instead of filming an entire wrap-up video because I don't have enough content to do that, I thought, why not just wrap it all up into one and I can just talk about everything that I've been reading, what I'm interested in looking at in the next month, what I've been reading, what I'm in the middle of reading, just all of the reading check-ins for you to know what's going on in my reading life. So leave me a comment down below if you are enjoying this video or if you would like to see another one of these videos. I want to try it out, see how your reaction is, see what I think of it, and just go from there. But first, number one, happy Pride Month. I am really excited for my reading this month, and I definitely want to incorporate some like LGBTQ books into it. And so yeah, first of all, happy Pride Month. Also, I am almost a 30-year-old woman wearing pigtails, so that's so cute. If you are new to the channel, if this is the first video you're seeing, hi, I'm Kara. Great to have you here today. If you have been watching a few of my videos for a while and enjoying the content, I would love it if you would hit the subscribe button. Heart. Thank you so much. Okay, so I was thinking about starting the TBR off first because I love TBRs. They are my absolute favorite, and let's just do the fun thing first, okay? So I have an idea of the type of books that I want to read this month. I'm gonna like pick a few for the different kind of like genre groupings I'm thinking of, and then as I go throughout the month, I'll like pick 1 or 2 of the books to read. So let's go to the shelves and pick some books out. I picked out way too many books for it to be realistic for me in terms of an actual TBR, but I have a few options for like the different kinds of genres or like ideas that I have or moods that I'm in. So you know what? We're just gonna go with it, and I'm gonna tell you everything that I'm potentially interested in, and then throughout the month I'm gonna make a few picks. So there is one book that I do actually have to read this month. Let's just start with that book because I know I have to read this. If you have been watching my weekly reading vlogs, you would know that a few weeks ago I went into a new independent bookstore and I found out that they are doing like an in-person book club every month of like literary fiction books, and I was like, yes, I want to join. That sounds amazing. I have been wanting to find an in-person book club for the last like 3 years. I used to be in one before COVID happened, and then it kind of just ended with COVID, and I've been wanting to come back to that again, and I finally found one that I'm so excited about, and they read like all literary fiction. So I was like, I want to join. And the book that they picked for this month is Trust by Hernan Diaz. It was nominated for the Booker Prize and it didn't win, but it was longlisted. All I know about it is that it's set in the 1920s and it's about like big Wall Street. It gave me like Succession vibes. I haven't watched any of the new season of Succession, so don't spoil it for me. I need to watch it, okay? I love Succession. I think it's so interesting, like the whole family dynamics, the drama, everything like that. I've heard so many people really love this book. I mean, it was nominated for the Booker Prize, so obviously it's probably pretty phenomenal. The owner of the bookshop too, who runs the book club, she was like, this was my favorite book of last year. I'm so excited for this like meeting. Everyone's gonna love it. This is definitely on the TBR. I have to read this by June 21st if I want to go to the book club, and if I don't, then shame on me. I'd be really sad if I didn't finish this. I want to go to this book club so bad, and I'm so excited. So this is a for sure number 1 on my TBR. Okay, so the next kind of genre that I want to fulfill during this month is I want to read a queer book because it's Pride Month, obviously. I want to read something with LGBTQ representation. I've been wanting to read a book that is centers around LGBTQ themes for a while now, and I just like haven't gotten to it yet, but now is the time. It is Pride Month. Let's do it. First one that I have on the TBR or potential is Patricia Wants to Cuddle. Like on the back, it does say it features queer stories and it's like queer representation. This book sounds so wild. If you haven't heard of this book, neither have I, okay? I saw this at Barnes & Noble and I was just like intrigued by the cover because it's wild. But basically it's about a reality TV show and that's all I know. It just sounds like fun and interesting to me. Sounds like there's some twists and turns. I don't know if it's like more thriller centered or what, but like it's just a short book. Sounds super fun, reality TV center based. And if you know me in any sense, you know I'm obsessed with reality TV. I literally, Vanderpump Rules is my newest obsession because all of the drama that's happening, oh my God, Scandival is everywhere right now. Love Island, another one of my favorites. I used to watch The Bachelor a lot, but I haven't watched it recently because honestly, it's been kind of boring and like the representation on that show is honestly not great and they've just kind of gone downhill over the past few years. But you name it, I am interested in watching it if it has to do with reality TV. So I just really am interested in this and it's queer and it's about a reality TV show and that's everything that I could ever want in a book. Okay, next one that could potentially fit in the LGBTQ category is All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson. Meant to read this last year for Pride Month and I didn't. And it's been sitting on my shelf shaming me for the fact that I didn't read it last year. This is a memoir about, he is an LGBTQIA+ activist. It's his story about being queer in Black America. Interested, heard it's really great, and it's not that very long too, and I've been wanting to read this for a really long time. Last one that could be potentially in the queer category is One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. I'm actually so interested in reading this, and I kind of feel like this might be the pick out of all the 3. So this is like a sapphic romance, and it kind of gives me the vibe of Groundhog's Day, where this woman gets caught on a train and she like can't get off or something like that, or she like keeps reliving the same day over and over again. Not 100% sure, but I know it's some kind of weird time travel thing. And she meets someone on a bus who's been stuck on the bus for like a really long time. I don't know. It's something along those lines. I know it's a weird theme and it's similar to Groundhog's Day and it's a sapphic romance. So you know what? I actually almost got rid of this. And then one of my subscribers was like, I want you to read this book. And so I didn't get rid of it. And now I'm like piqued my interest again. You know what? Keeping an open mind. I think that I actually could really like this book. And also Red, White, and Royal Blue is coming out, like the TV show is coming out soon or the movie or something like that. And it just makes me want to read another one of Casey McQuiston's books because Red, White, and Royal Blue, honestly, so great. It was such a good book. So this was the last one that could potentially fit in the LGBTQIA+ representation. Okay, next kind of category I am interested in is something that is nonfiction. And the 2 books that I chose, they're both nonfiction, but very different, okay? We have one memoir and one psychology book. Okay, so let's start with the memoir. That is Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. I just got this book this week, and it's basically a book about a young woman growing up outside of London, and she's just like a woman trying to figure out who she is. She talks about love and romance and friendships and family and just being young and in your 20s and 30s. And I love these kinds of books. I read the first few pages before I bought this because I just wanted to have an understanding of what it was like, and I felt like I couldn't put it down. And I've been thinking about it ever since I bought it, and I just want to read it so bad. It says on the back it's like Bridget Jones's Diary, which I just feel like that's a mood, you know? And again, sitting out in the sun, reading a book about women going through it is my kind of vibe. Okay, and then my next nonfiction pick is so totally the opposite of everything I know about love, more like everything I know about sadness and trauma, because that's The Body Keeps the Score. This is a book about healing trauma, and I've talked about this before in terms of like me being interested in reading it, but it's really an honestly scary book because it makes you confront your trauma. You know what? We all have trauma. Everyone does, including me. And I have been in therapy for the last 6 months. I've been really trying to work on myself and work through, you know, like my inner child and stuff like that. And this book continues to come up. And I just have to bite the bullet and read it and like face my fears. I read like the first, like, I don't know, 70 pages of this book a few years ago, and I remember really loving it, and I thought that it brought so much to the table. It was really well researched and well thought out and like backed up with actual evidence and stuff like that. And I've just been putting it off because it's a really tough book to read. It makes you think about things that you don't like to think about. So yes, really, really interested in reading this. I'm hoping I'll get to that this month if I am feeling like I can. You know, I'm not gonna force myself to do this, but I may need a good push to be able to actually read it. Okay, and then my last like category, or oh my God, that is a huge crow. Ew. Okay, and then my last little like section that I'm thinking of is just kind of random. These are a few books that I saw on my shelf and I was like, I would be interested in reading that. And both of these are books that I got recently. So the first one I have is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. This was gifted to me by my friend Rachel from Raven Reader for my B-Day. Thank you so much, girl. I am so excited to read this book. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure what this is about. I know it's based in like the literary world. I think it's about a woman who writes a book or something and her sister sells the book for her without her knowing. I could be so wrong on that. I love R.F. Kuang so much, and I don't want to like have judgment going into the book because I just know I'm gonna love it and I want to just like go into it uninhibited, you know? Oh, it sounds like it talks a lot about like racial profiling in the literary world. I've just heard really good things about this, and from after reading Babel last year, I was like, I want to read everything that R.F. Kuang puts out because that book changed me. I like think about that book all the time, and I'm like, if she can write something like that, I'm sure everything she writes is just gold. And then the last one that I'm interested in, this is something that I don't know, you know, this is a random one. Sometimes in the summer, I enjoy reading a really lighthearted romance, and it's just a mood that I get in every year when it gets warm outside. If you know, you know. I'm sure a lot of people do the same thing where they just want to read something like light and airy. For that, I chose The Heiress Gets a Duke. This is by Harper St. George. I recently watched Queen Charlotte and I loved it. I literally loved it. I cried my eyes out. It was an emotional time for me. And I wanted to read something along those lines, and I thought like historical romance would be fun to read. So I had a few extra credits on Book of the Month, and I was like, why don't I just try this one out? Don't know what this is about other than it's in a historical romance. And you know what? Bridgerton just like has me by the freaking throat. And I love that series so much, and I just want to like read more things set in Victorian London or England. Heiress Gets a Duke. Who knows if I'll actually read it, but you know what? It's going on the TBR. Oh, and I guess I should throw on one other book that's potential on the TBR, and that is Royal Assassin, which I think is that one the second one in the Assassin's Apprentice trilogy? I think it is. Whatever the second one in the Assassin's Apprentice trilogy is, I am potentially going to be starting that one this month too, but I don't know. That one might be a little bit of a pipe dream. I know that is on my more so immediate TBR, if anything. So that is everything on the TBR, and let's just move on to what I am currently reading at the moment. I'm only reading one book. The book that I am currently reading is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. This is a literary fiction, historical fiction, kind of. I don't know. More literary fiction in my opinion, but I am freaking loving this book. If you guys haven't watched my reading vlogs of it yet, I would highly encourage you to do so to get my like real time in-depth thoughts. I'll leave those linked down below. But essentially I'm just over halfway through the book right now. This is a book about two best friends, Sadie and Sam, and they met at a hospital when they were both kids. They were like both at this hospital quite often. Sam had a chronic injury, and then Sadie's sister was sick with leukemia, and so they were constantly at the hospital, and they bonded over video games. You follow them as they grow up and basically become video game developers. They become partners, and they're working on creating video games together. And this book entails their entire professional and childhood relationship and friendship. I love this book so much. Like, there's a reason this book is so hyped. I mean, it's definitely geared more toward people who like character-driven novels and people who more or less so-ish like literary fiction, but it also, like, the plot in terms of like the gaming and stuff, it is so interesting, especially to me because I really enjoy gaming and stuff. Like, I've really been into my Nintendo Switch and cozy gaming and all that kind of stuff, and I am loving this book so much. I just know I'm gonna cry, and I'm continuing to grow more and more and more attached to these characters with every single page. It is a masterpiece. I think this is gonna be my favorite book of the year, if not top like 3 favorite books of the year. I am loving it so much. This is a 5 stars for sure, 5 stars plus. Like, if I could give it 200 stars, I think I would. It's just everything that I could ever want in a book, and I'm truly loving this. So that's the only one I'm reading right now. Okay, and then in terms of the reading wrap up, or what I read in this last month, I only finished one book other than starting tomorrow. And that book that I finished was Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. That is the first book in the Realm of the Elderling series. It like is part of the, I don't know what the first trilogy is called, honestly. I don't know if it's the Assassin's Apprentice trilogy or whatever, but it's the first book in that huge long series. And I loved this. I gave this book 5 stars. I read it on my Kindle. So I read this book for a bet, actually, with my fiance. He's currently reading the last trilogy in the entire series. He is loving the series, and we made a bet that I had to read that book within 2 weeks. And check out my video down below to see if I did it or not. Regardless, I ended up finishing the book, and I love this book. I thought it was so well done. This is a book about a boy named Fitz, and throughout the entire Realm of the Elderling series, you're following him as a child as he grows up into an adult. So Fitz is the bastard son of a prince, and when he is like 3 or 4 years old, his grandparents drop him off at the foot of the royal castle, and they're like, peace out, Girl Scout, and they leave Fitz for the royal palace to take care of. And basically he becomes almost like a pawn in this overarching royalty system. You're watching him as he befriends people, as he makes enemies, and as he kind of becomes a apprentice for an assassin. Obviously, it's Assassin's Apprentice, but then there's also some kind of elements of magic in there. There's like some mind reading stuff. I don't know. There's things that do not make it necessarily based in our world, right? Like, it is a fantastical world, and there's so much left in this series to be discovered. This book is so expansive. The world building is beautiful, and like, even in the first book, you're just getting like little droplets of information that are going to come in the rest of the series. I just know the world is going to continue to expand. We're going to meet so many other characters, and I'm just like so excited to continue reading this series. It's honestly an amazing ride already. Very character focused again. Great plot, but also like way more character focused. Like, I already feel so attached to Fitz, and I just know that attachment is going to grow and grow over these next 14 books. Like, the fact that my fiance is about to cry reading this last series says something. He never, like, you see him shed a tear, he will never do it in a book or a movie or anything that is like entertainment based. That says something, and I feel like I'm gonna become way too attached to Fitz, like to the point where it's like really unhealthy, and maybe I will talk about it with my therapist, you know what I mean? So yeah, that was essentially the one book that I finished in May, and then I did start tomorrow. That concludes today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this like bookish reset. Leave it in the comments if you enjoyed this video or not, and if you would like to see more of these in the future. I would totally appreciate it if you would do that. If you have not checked out any of the reading vlogs I talked about, I'm going to leave them all linked down below for you to watch, and I hope you guys have an amazing day or night wherever you are. I will see you guys in my next video. Peace and love, babies. Bye!